and welcome to the workbench. Well, I made a video not long ago entitled Class 87 Upgrade, and I built one of these, which is a Judith Edge kit of a cross-arm pantograph. So my first attempt, I would say, was 80% successful, but I'm going to have another go. So I've got the kit in which you get the sprue, the springs and the 0.45 millimeter diameter nickel silver wire. Well, that's what you get in the kit. Well, you also get the instructions. Forgot to mention that. But yeah. What do you need in addition? Okay. A jolly nice chunk of wood. Now, on your Judith Edge kit instructions, here we have roof drilling template. So you simply place that on your block of wood. You get your drill bit, 0.45 millimeters. You drill 4 holes, and then snip off a little bit of the wire. I drilled to a depth of about 5 millimeters, so there's, I would say that is about 5 millimeters into the wood and 5 millimeters out of the wood. Just snip it with the wire snippers. So these are things that you need. Drill. I also got a whole load of 0.45 millimeter drill bits, because I seem to break them an awful lot. And I also got some extra nickel silver wire, just in case. It's always handy to have anyway, isn't it, for detailing models of other types. This is a thing which I drew myself. It's hardly a work of art, more like a Picasso on a bad day. But what I've attempted to do is to, in the Airfix style, an exploded view of the bits, just to give me an idea where all the bits on the sprue will go, and the names they are referred to in the instructions, what they mean. So I think that might be useful too. Some tweezers as well. Now these little washers, their diameter can't be more than 1 millimeter. They've got to be smaller than 1 millimeter, I'm saying. Maybe they are just about 1 millimeter. And you have to pick them up and you have to place them onto your bit of wire. And what I've found is I can only do it in bright daylight. I've got a lamp on the bench, but it's not enough. Bright daylight, and you need to be so patient, because at least half the attempts to get the washers onto this bit of wire are failures. So you need a lot of patience and a good steady hand to be able to do this. Well, I've broken some more items off the sprue, and some of these items come in pairs, and the reason is you have to make them double thick. So there's these lower arms, as they're called. There's 4 of them, 4 pairs of components. So each one has a hook. So you make sure one of your pair has a hook and one doesn't. And then what we're going to do, they're supposed to pair up like this. You have to solder them together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put them on the drill bit. I'm going to put a little bit of flux in between here, and then, this isn't hot yet by the way, the soldering iron. I'm just going to run the soldering iron down the flux, and hopefully that will glue them together. Okay, just tidy it up as much as you think it needs tidying up. There we go. Okay, so I firstly soldered the long end, the so-called long end, with this bracket. Then I soldered these onto this end, and then I've placed it onto the 4 insulators, so I've got a a rectangle. Now I believe this goes here, and this goes here. Recommended in the instructions. It looks like this. So this will come further back. So will that to there. So I'm going to solder that and see if everything still works. So that's done. I'm not soldering this to these insulators yet because we've got to fit a wire in there. And it looks like one of these will have to slightly, I'm going to have to slightly bend that down a little bit to get that wire into that hole. That's in a moment. Before that we have our parallel links. Now here we can see it says parallel link jig, so you have to bend the wire to fit into those 2 holes, which I've done. I think you just bend it and take your best guess. Now the really tricky bit. So this is the parallel link, and the idea is this bit on the end can swivel around on there. This bit has to go on the axle. So I've started. You have to put, come on, focus. You have to put 1 washer, 1 lower arm, 2 parallel links. Well, I've got 1 on here. That's one of the parallel links. I have to put the other parallel link on. I have to put another lower arm, and then I have to put 4 washers, which is to accommodate the lower arm at the other end when it's in the lowered position. Then there's a bit of soldering to do, and then with the same at the other end. It gets trickier and trickier, doesn't it? Well, that has taken me 2 hours. I've not done any soldering yet. This is all still loose. But at least they're on the axles, and the axles are in place. So I guess we'll have to do some soldering now. Okay, so I'm going to try and do a bit of soldering now. But before that, I'm going to put a little, just on the end here, a teeny weeny little bit of Vaseline, just to stop the solder going in there, because we don't want that. So that's going to get soldered. So I'm going to have to put a bit of flux. So I'm going to solder this arm first. And these 2 arms have to be, a bit more Vaseline on there. Like that. So this arm and this arm have to be exactly at the same height. Okay, that bit goes up and down, that bit goes up and down. So I'm going to put a bit of blue tack on there, keep them like that, and then these parallel links will be soldered, one on the top and one underneath. Well, look, I have been successful. I'm so happy. So I can start trimming a bit of these excess bits down and filing some of the excess solder off, tidy it up a bit, and then put the top bit on. Well, we're on to the final stretch now, and I've got these 2 little bits here to solder onto the top bit. I've made these side arms using the jig, and these 2 cross bits will hold it all together, we hope. You do get 2 options with these little things that hold on the Pantograph top bit. You can have the one with 2 holes, which is the one I've gone for, or the one with 1 hole, which looks a whole lot more complicated. So I'm not going to do that. So wish me luck for the last bit. Well, more or less finished now. I've noticed that this top bit is a bit more wobbly than you would like. So one of these, there's 4 places where these arms meet the top bit. I'm going to solder one of them so that it keeps it like that. And then put the spring on, and then I think it's finished. Well, here it is. I think the springs are a little bit too powerful at the moment. Might have to just stretch them a little bit. Well, this is the situation. It goes up, but sometimes it goes way up and then does that. So I'm going to have to stop it going up so high somehow, put a little blocker on it somewhere. So this will need a bit of improvising. I have to think about that. Well, I've put a little bit of excess stuff there, and that stops it going up. So there it is, fitted to City of Manchester. So now all we've got to do is see it running.